I'm Jean Wright, and I'm 70 years of age, and I'm a member of Speakeasy. I've been a member since I had my stroke in 2005. 9 years ago, I was taken to the hospital by ambulance because my husband thought I was having a stroke. I didn't realise that I was.
Oh, I said, how have you been today? And she said, well, I haven't had a headache. And I said, headache? Why do you say that? And I said, you're talking funny, your speech isn't quite right. Anyway, when she woke the following morning, her arm was not working properly, but she thought she'd just been laid on it funny. But when I spoke to her again her speech was gobbledygook and obviously not right. So I rang for the medics, and they came and checked her and said they needed to take her into hospital.
Apparently the hospital said that I could go home, but Victor said, well, we're getting married in 9 days, and could they keep me in overnight for observation? They said yes, they would do that, and that night they took me to the toilet. I don't remember this, but they took me to the toilet and they heard a loud bang, and they found me on the floor in the ladies' toilet on the ward.
She was paralysed down the right-hand side. She'd had a massive stroke, and she couldn't speak. And it was devastation. Her daughter was crying because we'd been told that she may not pull through. It was so serious.
I remember seeing my daughter coming towards me, and then she gave me a kiss, and then this stranger came to give me a kiss, and I just put my left hand up and turned my head, and my daughter said, it's Victor, Mum, you know Victor, but I didn't.
And we had a cruise booked for the honeymoon, and all the church was set up, and the flowers and the cars, everything had been paid for, and so I had a big problem then. We had to get everything postponed, and I saw it as a challenge to see if we could do something about it, and I researched stroke on the internet, learned about the damage it can do and the best thing to do about it. And I was able to spend quite a lot of time with Jean, which most people wouldn't be able to do. I was able to spend every day with her. I got special permission from the hospital to go in and spend as much time as I wanted with her. And we did a lot of work together. I showed her how to work her hands, how her fingers worked, and that she had to watch them and see how it was working. She couldn't move them at all at first, so I physically moved them and let her see what was going on to get some neurological connection between what was happening and what she needed to do. And we needed to do that with her arm, her hand, her leg, her toes, because nothing on the right-hand side would work.
And it was him that came and asked me to go to Speakeasy, who help people with communication problems. And I didn't probably want to go at first, but he kept asking me, so I said I'd go for 3 times. Put me my 3 fingers up and said 3 times because I couldn't speak. So I thought I'd just be sat in a corner in a wheelchair, nobody talking to me. But it wasn't like that at all. It was everybody was really friendly, and I enjoyed being in the company of the other people. You know, they were the same as me.
Speakeasy is a charity. We're based on the outskirts of Bury, but we support people from across Greater Manchester. We help people who have communication difficulties. Many of our members have had a stroke, but some of them have other difficulties with brain damage, and we support them in whatever way they need help to improve their communication, to develop some confidence, and to get on with their lives doing things with their communication difficulty still present in some cases. I've known Jean since just after she had her stroke 9 years ago. She had marked aphasia at the time and was struggling to understand what other people said to her. She came along to Speakeasy first, reluctantly, understandably feeling very anxious. She came along with her husband Victor, and they soon settled in. She started to help other people at Speakeasy and do other more difficult things, and it was wonderful watching her grow in the skills and confidence into doing more and more as time went on.
My little brilliant thing is being a trustee of Speakeasy. I went to Speakeasy as a member when I had my stroke. I became a volunteer after a few years, and then I became a trustee, and I help with doing presentations, and I go out and do talks about aphasia, aphasia awareness talks to different groups, and I get a lot of enjoyment doing this, and it gives me the feeling that I'm giving back.
She has the skills to engage with people and really help draw people out of themselves. So that connection makes her a wonderful volunteer at Speakeasy. She gives so much back to the organisation and to our members. I'm a speech and language therapist, and I don't know what aphasia feels like, and I don't know what it's like to have it, but Jean does, and that gives her such a connection with other people and makes her able to help people far better than I can do, and in a completely different way.
People say that, do you not get very frustrated with things? I've never felt like that when I first had my stroke, and for a few years I think that I felt like there was like a wall around me, protecting me. I'm not quite sure what it was, but that's how I felt, and I've never felt frustrated until maybe the last 12 months, and then because I want to do more and more, and you know, I know I can't. My husband and I, we did get married eventually, but he's always made me laugh, and he's always said, if I do get frustrated, think about other people who are not as good as you, Jean, and that brings it back to me that, yeah, that's what you've got to do. You've got to think about other people, and you know, I'm so much better and getting better all the time. I'm still getting better than I was.
Jean doing her little brilliant thing and becoming a trustee of Speakeasy is absolutely amazing. She's stood up in front of groups of over 100 people. She's opened conferences, standing up on a podium and speaking, and for someone with aphasia to do that is really quite incredible.